Hi, my name is Azariah. Today, my role for you is just sort of going to be a practitioner role. I really want to hear whatever you have to say. If you want to talk about anything that's been bothering you, I really want to hear about that. And hopefully, we can talk about it and maybe find some relief for you, or maybe even just help you feel better about talking through it. Um, this little meeting we're having will probably last around 15 minutes, but I will let you know when to wrap up so you don't need to worry about time or anything like that. Um, this is really just sort of a conversation that we're going to have. So whatever you feel like you need to bring up, definitely do, and let me know whatever direction you want to go, or if you need to talk about anything in particular, you definitely let me know. So if you want to introduce yourself and talk about whatever is on your mind.
My name is Megan Kaiser. I am coming in because I have sort of concerns with feelings of confidence in my abilities in school and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm not doing well. I know the last time we spoke, we briefly kind of talked about like a lot of overwhelming feelings and stuff. Thankfully, the semester is coming to an end, but it's becoming very clear that the next steps are going to need to be made, like studying for the GRE this summer, applying for grad school stuff, just taking on a volunteer work things for the social work program. I had to do some other things for that. I'm just starting to feel like I don't know if I can do it. And everyone I've talked to is like, don't be worried if you don't get into grad school the first time. You can always apply next time. And I know that's really somebody trying to be like reassuring, but it makes me scared. Like maybe I can't do it. And I don't really know what to do to maybe help myself build that confidence, or like it's just a concerning thing for me right now that I'm kind of battling.
Mm-hmm. What is it specifically that you feel like you're most worried about, that you feel most not confident about?
It's a good question. I feel like I've done a really good job with time management. I've proven time and time again that I can get the grades and I can go to work on time and da-da-da-da. It's really nothing to back it besides just I've in the past failed. Like when pressure's gotten really, really high, like I've kind of backslid and like gotten back into behaviors and management techniques like for stress that are not good. And so like that hasn't been an issue, but that's kind of where a lot of my concern lies, is like a fear of like maybe the pressure will make me crack and like I'll mess up all this stuff that I've been working really hard for the last, year or so. So it's like a lot. That's the overwhelming part, is the fear of myself.
So it sounds like you're not necessarily worried about like the actual applying. Like it sounds like you feel like you have things pretty well in order, and it's not necessarily parts of that application that you're worried about. It's doing it and feeling like you might not go through with it.
Well, and like kind of being scared that I'm going to fail. Like I've worked so hard, and like people that look in on my life and stuff, it's kind of like, oh, she's doing pretty good, this and that. But like based on where I was, like maybe like a year ago or 2 years ago, it's like I feel like I've put so much effort into like making my life kind of like normal, quote unquote, again. So it's sort of like a fear of like, maybe I won't be successful, and like those people looking in on my life maybe I just won't live up to what's inside my heart, like I want to achieve. And it's just a fear. It's like not feeling like I can do it. And you asking like what specifically, like that makes me really think, like I don't really know. It's like an overshadowing kind of emotion, and that's why it's really hard to like directly kind of yeah. So I'm kind of trying to figure out what I can do for myself to give myself a little forgiveness, like be a little kinder to myself. So it's kind of like where I'm at with like whether it be stress management, maybe I need to target, or like or journaling. I don't know. It's a very overwhelming situation.
So do you feel stressed when you think about the future?
Yeah, it's like an anxiety for the future thing, definitely. Yeah.
How do you manage when you feel stress in the current situation? Like if you're worried about a paper that's due next week.
Jeez, that's a good question. Um, Anymore, this probably sounds like so melodramatic, but like anymore, I feel like I'm always kind of like on the edge of like something's due. So it's like the feeling of like trying to deal with it is just not even like
Right.
and that's maybe where the issue is, where like even now taking time for self-care maybe feels like a big endeavor. Like
Right.
it feels like a huge thing to be like, well, I don't have time to go
Right.
and try to do those things. And so for now, like honestly, what I find myself doing is like in my free time and on very little like limited time I have is like hanging out with my boyfriend and kind of escaping the world in a way where it's like I don't really think about school and all those kind of things, and
Right.
sometimes it's not the healthiest
Mm-hmm.
way to deal with it either, but that's what I've been doing, I guess.
Right. So you're worried about the future, but you're already also stressed in the current situation. So how do you think it would feel if you weren't stressed right now and you thought about the future?
I think it'd be pretty empowering, like to be able to like look back at those things that I have kind of gone through and like my personal life and then kind of see where things could be. And like again, if I don't get into grad school or like whatever, it doesn't work out right away, it's not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
um so like to be able to look at it like in a positive way,
Mm-hmm.
even that way too, would be like pretty freeing of like
Right.
the anxiety and stuff like that. So that would be like ideal,
Mm-hmm.
eventually to get to that place. Um, Sorry, I didn't think I was gonna get like kind of worked up thinking about this.
Yeah.
Just, phew. Um, okay.
Mhm. Our thoughts about the future are sometimes the most stressful thoughts that we have.
When you start to get like really worked up and your heart starts beating really fast and stuff like that, do you find that like you are able to calm your body down and stuff like that? Because sometimes I feel like it's really hard for me to even like get control of my body in that way, and sometimes I just get really freaked out, like
Right.
overall, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So taking the time to take a deep breath is like
Right.
kind of important for me. I get really
Yeah.
worked up. Thanks, sorry, excuse
I
me.
think that's a good technique that you have. Um, it's mhm. It's important to I think it's important to it sounds like also what you're saying is that we have things that we do when we feel like that and to sort of have a go-to. You said taking deep breaths really helps you.
Yeah, it does. I
Yeah.
think kind of slows down things a little bit. It kind of makes me feel silly because I'm like sitting there like hyperventilating in front of somebody, but like I have had to do that since I was a kid, so it's kind of like it's okay.
You should congratulate yourself for having that technique because most people don't. Hmm.
Thanks. I think I'd look a little bit more like a crazy person if I got myself real worked up. um, with summer coming up and things like that, um, I am kind of getting a little bit excited for like not being in school and stuff like that, but having all that extra spare time and stuff like that maybe will allow for like me to try some sort of like class or something, because my main thing is I want to be active, but I'm kind of too lazy. I don't want to do it by myself. So maybe this summer I can try to like get into a class or something, so I won't have 16 credit hours or whatever.
Right. You did say that if you would feel empowered to if you weren't so stressed right now to think about the future. Um, so maybe a way you have to maybe one of your goals can be thinking of ways to not stress yourself out in the current moment whenever you're trying to plan or think about the future. So to really watch yourself and make sure that before you start planning and doing things for future you, you make sure that present you is taken care of.
That's a good point.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas for what you would want to do to, you said maybe
Um,
taking a class?
yeah, I think I would like to be like a little bit more active. I have kind of gone through like a health shift in the recent years where like not where I've gotten like super duper healthy, but much healthier than I was in like my lifestyle and stuff. And one of the only aspects missing is like that physical, like, you know, stuff that's good for your body to move and things like that. But being so busy with school, I'm like, I don't have time to do anything like that. And I feel like this summer or whatever, in the meantime, like,
Mhm.
that would be something, I know I mentioned that, but that would be kind of like one of the main things I'd like to at least try to do a little more of, because I think it'll help
Right.
boost those like natural chemicals of like,
Mhm.
you know, whatever. Um, but I think getting more sleep, I actually have been getting a little more sleep like the past few weeks. So like
Mhm.
I've noticed it's helping in
Right.
terms of like during the day I'm a little more stressed out because I'm not staying up till 2 in the morning doing homework, but at the same time, getting more sleep has been pretty important.
Mhm.
Um, and going along with like the working out thing or just being physically active doesn't really have to be working out. It's like eating a little better because with school, I like it's not even like the way I used to do it before, but like stress eating.
Yeah,
Like
it's easy to get.
really, you know, it's like this last week. I'm like, oh well, I didn't have time to
Mhm.
go do this. I'll just go to the gas station before work and
Right.
just grab this. And I mean, I've just been eating like crap, and I don't really feel necessarily like bad right now, or like I don't notice it, but I know once you start taking care of your body and stuff like that, it tends to help, I don't know,
Mhm.
naturally. So I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah.
That would be, I guess, a few of the things that'd be pretty feasible to do.
Right. So you have some things that you already have mapped out for you that you would, as an ideal. If you could see yourself at an ideal point right now, what would it look like?
Ideally, I would be able to like keep up with all of the obligations I already have,
Mhm.
where I'm like working, you know, my volunteer job and my part-time job and my full-time job, and I'm going to school full-time, and I'd be able to work out and eat better and sleep more. Like ideally, I'd be able to do it all. But I think like realistically, I'm kind of wanting to just like hold out until, you know, for the next few weeks until I can kind of implement those things and more. And I'm hoping my next semester, like since I am only taking 12 credits, I don't know. I'm kind of just like doing the whole holdout thing for the next few weeks until and like kind of daydream about like, oh, that'll be so nice, this and that. But like ideally, yeah, I'd be able to do it all. I know it's not
Right.
possible, like, or else I'd already be doing it, you
Right.
know. So I think if if I were truly, truly able to just have the world my way, I would like be able to work a little bit less and focus on school about as much as I do because I feel like I spend a decent amount of time, but like maybe a little bit more on like the personal stuff because right now I just have I work, you know, 60 hours of the week or something, and then it's like I go to school the rest
Yeah.
of the time and then I'm sleeping. It's like,
Right.
and I
It's
know that's not super uncommon. It's just if I could have it my way,
right.
I'd love to take care of me a little bit more.
Mhm.
And my personal relationships suffered a little bit, I think, too. Like, not that my boyfriend wants to be around me all the time, but like when we do have a little time to be together, I can't really hang out with him or do stuff
Mhm.
because like I'm doing homework. I have
Right.
to do homework for like 6 hours during
Mhm.
Saturday. Like, so Ideally, that's where I would like it to be, but like with finances and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't really know what all options there are with that. So I'm trying to maybe incorporate like a little bit more activity and stuff into my time spent on my extra job nannying
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But even then, I still don't feel like it's a recreational, like fun. It's like
Right.
me taking kids running while they're on their bikes. Like, it's not like I'm going out for a nice walk.
Right. Right.
But I
Right.
know it's important, but I just am at a place where I've hit a snafu where I'm kind of like, I don't really know
Mm-hmm.
what there is to be done or like what I could do. I think it would help a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah. It sounds like it's a really overwhelming time. Um, and it also sounds like you're really excited for it to be over. And that'll be awesome when it is. And but I do think that in the next couple weeks when it is over, you should really celebrate everything that you did because you do put a lot of sounds like you put a lot of pressure on yourself. Am I right?
yeah,
Yeah. So if maybe taking the time in these next few weeks to self congratulate everything that you've done, maybe it'll get you more excited for what's going to happen.
the upcoming thing. So I
Mhm.
can celebrate after I'm done with that too.
And you can even celebrate while you're finishing or right now. Like everything can be a cause for celebration. Like you existing is a cause for celebration. So, um maybe that'll help. It also really sounds like um you have some good support systems in place. Um and maybe use them to your advantage as much as you can. Mhm.
That's a good point because I know sometimes I tend to take out my frustrations rather on my support systems rather than like, appreciating
Right.
the support that they do provide, like family and boyfriend and all kinds of
Mhm.
different people. And I feel horrible about it. So I know it's like one of those things to be thankful for and really think about utilizing
Mhm.
as opposed to maybe taking it for granted sometimes.
Mhm. Well, we are at about our time, so hopefully this was at least helpful for you to talk about it. I know we talked about a lot of things, forgiving yourself, giving yourself self-care, focusing on yourself in the current moment instead of what's going to happen in the future, and then celebrating yourself and the people around you. Um, so I hope that the last few weeks go smoothly for you. And if you do need more resources to talk, totally willing to talk with you again anytime you want. Um, if you would like to say anything or ask any questions at this point, you're totally welcome to.
No, I think you covered everything. I think that was like a very productive session. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, thanks.
Thank
We'll
you.
talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.